Sansonga, Akuya de Mumodo Yachigoma, Sagala Nyombo, Uwange no Sawa Yanombo, Bagambe Sagala Nyombo, in Sawa Yachigiri, Wama Sembera, Olamu Basova, Yamu Fetale, Yasiri Akolika, Mama, Unamu Wachisera, Musiki Solisana, if I show you my money, are you gonna dance you? If I show you the way, are you gonna dance you? If I show you my pockets, are you gonna dance you? If I show you my wallet, I will show you the money. Baby, dance from you. Baby, move from you. Don't go from you. I will show you the money. Baby, dance from you. Show me your body. Don't go from you. African, 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 baby. Ooh, yeah. See, African, 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 baby. I don't know, yeah. The money too much, I'm dancing. You feeling my singing? Whatever you're thinking. Can't you see what I'm feeling? Legas and I want that. The way you want your body, give me tons of. Girl, I can follow you bumper to bumper. Girl, I can follow you bumper to fender. Oh, baby, you're wild. Girl, I promise to be your defender. Girl, I could love you January to December. Girl, if them hates to them back to sender. Oh, baby, you're wild. Oh, baby, you're wild. Oh, baby, you make me crazy. Oh, baby, you make me crazy. Girl, I be loving you every day. Girl, I'm loving you every day. Let nothing come my way. Let nothing come my way. I want your body sleeping in my bed. I want your body sleeping in my bed. You got me going crazy. Oh, girl, I can't explain it. Your body's so insane. Oh, girl, I can't replace you. You got me going crazy. Oh, girl, I can't explain it. Your body's so insane. Oh, girl, I can't replace you.
DJ Magic Flows.
Online, on mobile, and soon on DAB. This is Starr Radio UK, the leading Afro-Caribbean radio station in London.
Because God bless me every day, just tell me you're feeling. Oh, anytime I hear my song, they say I'm amazing. And the people them know say Wizzy baby bad and say I'm the baddest. Yes, 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 yo. Baby, me stress you today, yes, yo. Dance, make a dance on the dance floor. Put your hands in the air if you want more. go hold you like the Oroma. Baby ma, shake it ma, cause I go chop you like hungry ma. Yo, 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 yo. My Oroma, baby. You sweet like tangerine. If you never, baby, give it to me, kerewa.
The IWFT team presents Footprints on Star Radio UK with your host Oscar Bimpong every Thursday at 7 p.m. Star Radio UK, your finest Afro-Caribbean station in London.
Welcome to the Footprints Radio Talk Show, and this is your regular host Oscar Bimpong, always in the driving seat, taking you to your destination of success. It's another wonderful Thursday, very lovely Thursday, because it's very sunny in London. Where we come from, sun, we don't care. We have it 24/7. But here, some people, I can say, worship the sun. Some of you don't want to go to work because it's sunny. Why? Because it's one of the scarce commodities here in London. But we, apart from the sun that we have to enjoy, we are in the studio trying to always do what we do best, trying to always inspire you, trying to always bring you to a level where you can achieve your dreams. Today is no exception, and I've got a powerful man that is going to help us to discuss a pertinent topic. But before I go on, I want to talk about Train to Inspire Consultancy. Train to Inspire Consultancy is your training and management training company that helps individuals in terms of pursuing their dreams, that help corporate entities in terms of shaping their business to be competitive in the marketplace. They also undertake training and development and consulting. So if you need us, you can contact us through info@oscarbimpo.com, or you can telephone us 077035085552. Now, straight to business. What are we here for? Today I've got a powerful guest coming all the way from Ghana. Actually, he's made a lot of transit before landing in London, and he's got very scarce time. But I say, look, I will squeeze time out of your scarce time. And today it's been possible. He's now in the studio live, and we are going to discuss a topic that we have really talked about all over these years, that we think is confronting our people across the globe, especially in Africa, in Ghana. And what are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about mindset, the foundation of your success or failure. And who is there to really help me? This person is the Africa Regional Programs Advisor, Compassion International, and he is in the person of Bafo Ejapong Padmo. Please welcome to the Footprints, and you are live on Star Radio UK. Padmo, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
I said, please welcome to the Footprints, and you are live on Star Radio UK.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
How is your week in London been?
It's been good. Well, when I was coming, I learned there were some heat waves being scattered across London. Mm-hmm. But the good news is that I got to a time where it has already left. Let me put it settle. I mean, I've not seen any heat as I've been here since last Sunday.
Yes.
So I guess the weather has been very charitable to my stay here in London.
Wow. So how long are you going to be with us?
Well, not that much of a time. I'm flying back next week, hopefully.
Okay.
For other personal engagements back home. So at least a week in London should be enough.
A week in London should be enough. When people want to come and stay, you say a week in London is enough, and this is where we're going to talk about our topic now, mindset. But before I go on this question, I ask everybody that comes on the show, who is Bafo Ejapong Padmo? If somebody might ask, who is, just in brief, not in a book form.
Well, thanks for asking. Bafo Ejapong Padmo is born, bred Ghanaian, who studied in Ghana, married to a beautiful wife, Jennifer, have 3 children, work with Compassion International, an international non-governmental organization, that seeks to release children from poverty, talking about physical poverty, spiritual poverty, cognitive, socio-emotional. So that is basically an intro of who I am. The others, when we talk private, I can give more details.
Yes, so it means that even your job that you do, it's more of a mindset issue in terms of bringing people up from abject poverty, bringing people, channel their lives to the right path. What do you think people that you deal with on a daily basis, like children, what do you think their mindset are? Do you think they are born to be where they are, they believe they can get out of it, or they have just accepted it?
Well, I wouldn't say only children, because we are also dealing with children who have parents or caregivers who take care of them. So it's not just about the children, but it's sometimes even extend a little into the community. You can't do development work without having what we call the developmental mindset. I always say to people when I meet them that every child born everywhere in the world is born with the same potential. The only difference is the opportunities that are available to the children when they are growing up. So a child born in somewhere in a village in Ghana is born with the same potential as a child born somewhere in New York. But the environment around these children is what propels each and everyone to develop either higher above the other, or the forces that well, and when I talk about force, I'm not talking about any other, but I'm talking about the capacity of possibly parents and people around to even support the child reach his or her potential is also an issue. So having the right mindset in terms of the people we even work with, because we more or less are working with poor people who need the support that they will need to bring up these children and get them out of poverty, even they themselves having some alternate employment for them to beef up their income in their homes. So you come across a host of people with different set of minds, because you are dealing with different ethnic groups, you are dealing with different race and gender, you are dealing with people of different backgrounds, educated, illiterate, semi-illiterate. So definitely you come across a categorization of people who at any point in time present a different kind of thinking or a way of opinion, the way they see how development should go.
So you mentioned two things, potential and opportunities, right? So do you think that the child can have potential, but because there are no opportunities, can cause them to really think in a certain pattern compared to those that have got a bit of opportunities? I think this even cuts across to even older people, isn't it?
Exactly, so that was what I was going to say. Even in businesses, whenever we are all starting up, we all have the same potential to excel. But what will be available for you to tap into might not be available for me. Especially you can be so lucky to have around you good partnership, good resources, great alliances strategically that will propel you up. I might not have that opportunity to even get one or two partners to work with. So the potential is there for each and everyone. But the key thing is what opportunities are there for you to tap into, help you get reach out the best of whatever you want to get to. So the issue has to do with the opportunities more than the potential, because the potential becomes something like inherent. You are gifted, you are born with it. So if you get the opportunity, then you develop it, you work around it. So that is the only difference that I could. Potential, like I said, every child has the potential. If you come across children, you will see they all have that potential to excel.
But is it possible to create the mindset to also create an opportunity for yourself? If you got the potential but there are no opportunities, is there that possibility that against all odds you can also create that opportunities for yourself?
You see, that is what if I can quote what propelled Obama into his presidential race and eventually winning, the can-do spirit. If you believe that you can do it, then you have a higher opportunity. You see, when I talk about opportunities, I am not talking about just you sitting down and waiting for somebody to come and tell you that I have this, come and take. The mindset change comes in where Yes, I don't seem to get a lot of opportunities around me, but I can get up and look at the next town, the next two towns. What do I need to do now to be like the person in that area? So I don't have to sit and wait for somebody to come in and do like a hands-out development for me, giving me money, giving me things, supporting me. Which, I mean, we all know this famous quote from the Chinese that teach me how to fish. Don't fish for me, so that when you are not there, I can fish for myself. So the key thing is that you realizing what you have, and then looking at how can I leverage on what I have. That gives the difference. You go to a typical setting or rural setting, especially in Africa, and people are sitting there, and all that they are saying is, well, our situation is hopeless. But you get in there, you cast your eyes around, like not even a 360 or 180 degrees, and you realize has potential, opportunities there. But they themselves don't see that. Why? Because they might have grown in it and they feel like our situation is so bad. You get into an environment, they have vast land, the vegetation is very green, they have everything that you even put on the ground, it will germinate. Yet they are crying, they are poor. You go to an environment where, I mean, you will see parents, especially, and here I'll be a bit hard on my fathers, because I'm also a father. A typical rural setting, in some areas you go, and then men are just sitting under trees, they are chatting, they are laughing off, they are playing games, and you ask, and it's like, there's nothing for us to do. But the answer is, if you say there is nothing, what exactly are you looking at? Because you can't sit in such a setting without having any formal education qualification. You're looking for white collar jobs. You're not going to get it.
No.
So you look at what is available to you, and then you train your mind in such a way that let me make good use of what I have, what I can just reach my hands to. And that is where the shape needs to come in.
So does it mean that sometimes they need trigger points to really cause them to wake up, or they cannot sit down and see that, no, I can be creative. There is a gap in the market here. I can do this to support this. I can do this to make money. Do they have to wait for somebody like you to come all the way from the city to trigger them?
There are times that in certain situations we won't need such people in our lives. I mean, some things could be so close to you, but because it is not really, or you are not really wired for such an opportunity, you might not see it. It's like your subconscious has not even triggered for you to see that this thing is there for me. So you definitely need a trigger from someone to say, hey, but have you looked at this in this way? Then you can start looking at, oh, okay, I have never thought about it that way. There are the obvious, that one you don't need anybody to come and tell you. For example, you go to a community and what they do is peasant farming. And just only on subsistence. They don't get even the opportunity to get some to sell to make extra income. And everyone is trying to farm to feed only his or her family. So you ask yourself, what prevents such people to even come together as cooperative and farm on a bigger land? And that is where you have things like the synergistic effect. I can do A, you can do B, but when we meet together, we can do C, which is far higher than the sum of our individual contributions. So you need people now to come in and throw these things out for people to now realize, oh, you've never thought about it. That if we come together, we can do, say, a 40 acre, a 50 acre, than me alone just doing a 1 acre farm just to feed my family. So we need triggers sometimes along the way to see the opportunities that are around us.
That sounds very interesting, but you see this program is more based, is for everybody as well, but we are more skewed to Africa and Ghana in terms of helping our people to really make informed decisions in pursuit of their vision or whatever they want to pursue in life. But when you look at our people, the mindset is really channeled in such a way that it looks like we have got accustomed to what we are used to. So it's, for example, in Ghana, some people think there is no way they can make it because life is difficult. And people can give you instances where from their great grandfathers, their grandmother, their father, to them, this is how it has been. So why do you think I can really break that, that code of struggle? You know.
Let me give you one typical example, and this is more of a family example. I have a brother who is one of the sort of after surgeons in Ghana now, orthopedic surgeon. And he shared a story with me one time that at one point he had visited one of our uncles, and they were having their conversation, and he was about to marry. This uncle looked at him and said, "Well, Pabna, you know, within our family, money, we don't have money, but God gave us a gift of having plenty children. So we have so many children, but we don't have money." And the only thing he told me, he said, was that minus me. I mean, how can an uncle who is seen to be somebody who is trying to nurture the young ones coming, open his mouth and say something like this to an up and coming medical officer, that we don't have the money, but we are blessed with having children? So the moment you two accept that yes, it is true, you can't make money because it runs through the family, your mind now plays down on that. So whatever opportunity that's there for you to even make sure that you can tap into and make good business opportunities out of it, you say no, my family, we've never made it in life, so I'm not going to be the first one to be there. Some people hold such mentalities, very negative, very wrong. But I would not also say it's a generalized kind of statement, but majority, yes. Sometimes we look at where we've come from. I mean, we came from a colonial kind of system where the British left us with some of their, I would say, their culture, the things they did and all those. Did we really learn from them? No. Did we forget about the way we were living our culture? No. So the country found itself now in a state where they stood in the middle, or stand in the middle. Do we go back to our old ways? Do we take the white man's kind of way that he's brought? So you could see, even if you go to some families, there were divisions. Some will say, for us, we will take education seriously. We will go to school, we will chase after all those good jobs, we will enlighten ourselves. Some will also say, if I want to send you to university and you are just going to study a course like agriculture, why don't you come and farm in my cocoa farm? Why do you waste your time and go to? So we had that kind of a struggle where the farmers will always want their children to be with them on the farm because it's about making a living. Why do you want to worry yourself in all those long educational system and all those? So I believe strongly that, for example, Africa, and as I journey along the length and breadth of the continent, these are things that come up. You go and then you see that people still behave in such. The unfortunate thing is that there are those that are doing very exceptionally well. And that comes from those who have had the opportunity to go through some situations and, like you mentioned, creativity, looked at a problem and said, oh, but yes, this is a problem, but I see opportunities in there. That should be a way for me making it. For example, when we started the revolution that brought us WCs, water closet. And I am sure England, when the first water closet was discovered or invented, people jubilated. Why? Because we've never seen anything like a WC before. Because the way we were doing things, people felt that was the norm.
Yes.
But when this one came, people now realized, oh, so there is a better way of doing these things. Look at the way the Industrial Revolution started. People were just thinking, we will use firewood, we will use this, we will just set up a small factory, not even think about using machines to work and all those. But it just moved. So if you are running a business and you are not looking at the trends and you want to catch up but still want to be in the mindset or the opinion you used to have in setting up, definitely you'll be lagging behind.
Time
and
is
your
moving
peers,
so fast.
exactly so.
Time is moving so fast. Because you made a statement about your uncle and your cousin also, your brother, yeah. And you see that statement your uncle made, that we don't have money, but God has blessed this family with children. I can testify that this statement was handed to him by the parents, and it was also handed by the grandparents to the parents, because it is running through the family. So now your brother has got an opportunity to get out of that clause, and until you get out of that clause, because look, from what I do, I meet people that says, Oscar, you don't understand. Nobody has been to the university in my family, so I don't think it's possible. There's no way, and it's true. It's not possible because at the moment you don't have any resource, you don't have anything to go to university. But you see, until you push, you might never know, and this is where our people get stuck, isn't it?
Yeah. And I very much identify with that. In my family, I am a second generation university student in my family. So from this you can deduce that the first people to go into university in my family could be my parents or my uncle. And obviously my uncle, I would say, was the first to go to university. Now my siblings and my cousins, we are the next generation. So if you take a typical family like my family, we don't have this rich history of like the Ghanaians will call it book-long people in our families. No. But there is one thing in life that we all need to. A leader recently shared with me that he might not be Shakespeare, so he cannot write like Shakespeare did.
Yes.
He might not be Jesus Christ. He can never love unconditionally that Jesus did. However, if he had the spirit of Shakespeare on him, he can write something.
Exactly.
If he had the spirit of Jesus on him, he can love to some extent.
Yes.
So it tells you that you don't stay in a particular situation and say, I cannot do anything because I am not like those people.
Yes.
It is about your mind. If you are able to change your opinion, if you are able to change the way you think, then obviously you can behave like those that have made a difference.
For example, the way you write, yeah, you said you made example of Shakespeare, but there's one thing I have got to know, that when, for example, you start writing and you consistently write and you continue to pursue, sometimes you can even be better than the Shakespeare, because you become better by doing, but you don't become better by being lackadaisical, but you become better by being consistent. And that is where a lot of people lack. They want to do something but they cannot be consistent.
See, how can this change? Oscar, it's not, well, we'll talk about consistency, but to be consistent in what you do, it also boils down to what are your values. Do you stand, do you hold your values? What are your cultural behaviors? Do you hold on to them? Because these are the ones that will shape you and keep you consistent. I mean, you have these people as examples to use, so you can definitely do more than they have done, which is true. It is so true. You might not be gifted as they are, but the more you look at them, you do their things, you practice, you can get to a perfect scenario. How you deal with these things, your values, you deal with your cultural behavior, you deal with your strategies, you deal with even what mission you have for yourself and your principle. If you are not able to work on these, your mind will always tell you you are content with where you are, so stay there. But that is not where we need to be. If you look at the human being, I mean, sometimes you look at the processing unit in a computer and I marvel. And when these IT guys will come and tell you that your brain is more wired and more powerful than the computer, I sit and I ask, how come? That as if we that have been able to create the computer sometimes even believe that the computer is even powerful and more wiser than we are.
No.
So it means we have so much. If only we can just close our eyes and say, yes, we can do this. But for me to do this, I need to drop these things in my life. I need to see scenarios differently. I need to behave different from the way people want me to behave. And that is where you cause this difference. I mean, take our systems in Africa, for example. Government after government, you see the same things happening. And you are asking yourself, what is wrong with Africa? It is not like Africa does not know how to get out from their troubles or their situation. We know. But how do we deal with that? You deal with it by first working on your mind. That this is how everybody has been doing it. It's not working. Then it should tell us that is not the norm. We need to do things differently. And when we are talking about mindset, doing things differently, we should be prepared for some 4 key things. The first one is making the decision. At least for the fact that you sit down and then you think through and say, now I am deciding to get off this situation. That decision should be the first. Whenever you take that decision, be ready that you have to be going through a process where we call transition.
So decision is the first thing.
Yes, and this is not based on any other law, any other book, but my personal experience.
Yes. But do we really sit down to really make that decision, or we just go with the norm?
And that is where a lot of people fail. You can't just get up and say everybody is going east, so I'm going east. There was a time in Ghana.
But it's easier to say. It's easier to say that it's difficult in Ghana, isn't it? Everybody is singing the same song.
It is. It is. But difficult in terms of what?
Yes.
What you see as a difficulty, somebody is just running with it. So why should it be a difficult thing for you? It shouldn't be. You get to a point where every university in a country, at any point in time, are all producing one particular set of graduates. If it is not banking and finance this year, the next year you are guaranteed that every university is running an MBA in management. If it is not, everybody is doing MBA in marketing. So the system is now swaying people to a particular area. But you sit and you realize that all these people coming out are now going to choke in that area. What other opportunities can I now sit and say, they are going MBA marketing, but I won't go MBA marketing. I might even want to go to Polytechnic and do, say, carpentry.
Yes.
Why? Look at the kind of infrastructure that is coming up in the real estate area. And if I am able to have this skill, hand-on skill, technical skill, set up my own business, and I'm providing A-class kind of carpentry work for these real estate companies, won't I be successful than following what the market is saying? Everybody is doing marketing, MBA marketing.
Yeah, but this is a typical example. I remember when we were in tech, this guy, I don't want to mention his name, I think he's a second or so, and this guy was he's brilliant. I think the guy did BSc in physics, but he had opportunity to do civil engineering or electrical engineering that everybody was flooding. But this guy knew his stuff, where he wants to be, and I think this guy is with NASA and all that. Why? Because the civil engineering was very lucrative. Everybody was going to that direction, but he knew what he really wanted. And even in Ghana now, if you are doing physics, people don't respect you. But in this country, if you are doing physics, you are respected as somebody who is doing civil engineering, because somebody can be an apprentice and become a civil engineer without even going to mainstream university. But ours is on the reverse side.
Now it comes to what opportunities are there for you when you go through these courses. If you do physics, say in the US or in the UK, you know there are countless organizations that need physicists to work. But if you do physics, like in Ghana, let's say University of Science and Technology, University of Ghana produces 200 physics students graduate from these two universities. Where are they going to work in Ghana?
No, they have to
either they go back to the classroom, to the job, and go and teach. Because there is, I mean, you don't have the NASA's, you don't have these powerful research organizations, centers there that will absorb them to come and push research work. So the market itself also gives way to some of these things.
Exactly.
If the market is not available, the right courses are not taken, and the market just gets choked. So people just tend to follow. There was time everybody wanted to do medicine. Everybody wanted to do pharmacy. Everybody wanted to be civil engineer. Why? Because these were, I mean, the opportunity, the areas where you could be guaranteed ready job when you graduate from this school. Because at that moment they were the ones coming up. So a lot of people go in there the system can absorb just about say 20-30% of them, then the rest becomes frustrated. So the system needs to also be open wide enough to take care of all these other areas. And these are just the formal, and I don't want us to limit it only to the formal, because the informal is even as deadly as the formal.
Exactly.
The informal is where it matters most, because if you want to do averages and say, for example, Ghana will say, oh, about 60% or 60 or 70% of its people are literate. I mean, it could not only mean literacy in terms of formal education, because informally people could still be literate.
Yes.
But genuinely, if you are talking about formal, the fact that somebody sits in the classroom does not make the person literate. So the informal sector really needs some of these thoughts, some of this thinking, in order to be able to change the way they perceive realities in life. For example, I have been doing this thing since my grandfather's time. He passed on to my dad passed it on to me. So obviously I need to pass it on to my son. But my son is not wired for that profession.
Exactly.
But I am doing everything to force my son into that, because it is a family kind of inheritance.
Exactly.
He has to be there.
Exactly. All of us are lawyers, so you have to become a lawyer.
So we force people to even go for things that they are not wired for. So they do it just to satisfy our ego, our needs. Oh, well, my dad wants me to do this, and that's why I'm doing it. But genuinely, that is not what the person should be, or where he should be. So we need to work in totality. Leave people, leave children, leave students. See what comes easily at their hands, what they are good at. You go to a home, the end of term is there, the terminal reports are in, parents are assessing terminal report, and one of the sons gets 40% in mathematics, and hell breaks loose in the home. So I sit and I ask, your son or your daughter is doing about 9 or 10 courses. The 9 he has passed with good grades. But you as the head or the father, you decided just to focus on that one that the child is not able to pass. And you are using that against him, demoralizing the child. So even parents are thinking needs to change. Why wouldn't I focus on the 9? Encourage him that once he's been able to get the 9, that one should be as easy as anything for the child. So we focus so much on negativities, whilst we have the opportunity to improve or build upon the positives. And if you are a student of management, they will tell you that manage your weakness, improve on your strength, build on your strength, and manage your. Don't focus so much on that.
On your weakness, no.
But that is what people dwell on. I can't do this. There's no way I can do it. So sit and ask yourself, what can I do?
What can I do?
And how can I do it better, such that I become the yardstick for others to look at and say, I want to be like that person. So if we need to change their mind, again, it starts from there. But like I said, if you decide, prepare for that transition.
I think we need to go back to the 4 points that you were talking about. So we are on decision, and this it came along this direction.
So the decision is, well, I need to be away from where I am. I am not happy with my situation. I am not happy with my societal culture. I am not happy with my societal norms. I am not happy with the way things are done. How do I get out of it? So if I decide that yes, I will not be part of this, then I should be prepared for that transition. And I mean, we all go through transitions in life. Whether you were born a baby, whether you start crawling, you sit, you stand, you walk, they are all transitions in our lives.
But do you think when people decide to make the transition, they become the odd one out, isn't it?
That is how some people will see you.
But people also feel that when I become the odd one out, then it looks like everybody is watching me, whether I'm going to be successful or being a failure. And if I become a failure, how are people going to perceive it? Don't you think that also stops people from really making that transition?
And that is where you should even do it the more. Because when people feel like you can't do it, people feel like if you do this, you are going to be the odd one out. That is where it becomes engaged and encouraging. You always, at any point, if you want to cause these changes, know how to handle it. Like I said, they are an integral part of us. You can't say at no point in your life there will not be any transition. Whether you are marrying, you have started work, you're going to school, these are all transitions. But now this is moving from a very comfortable zone as you see it, to one where you think, can I make it? Can't I make it? And that is where you need to now look at it. Going this way, would I get fulfillment in there? Would I look back and say, yes, now I made the right decision? I enjoy what I'm doing now.
I think that's also very critical.
If not, then you ask yourself, I'm not sure I made the right decision. I better go back to my old ways of life. Whatever that you decide to move into, make sure that it's going to give you the fulfillment you need in life. It's very important. If you are able to do that, then I can guarantee whatever that you do it with joy. I mean, we sometimes feel like when we go through such transitions, we cannot make it. But when you have that can-do spirit, it comes easy. You will pass through it as if it was just something you slept over and just woke up and it is there. The willpower to catapult you becomes so strong that you don't even now look at what people are saying. Let me move on to the third one, that when you decide to go through this transition, then you should be able now to look at, what do I have around me? How do I build myself? If it is an organization, then you are asking yourself, do I do the same things my competitors are doing? Or do I do things differently? If the market is not so good, how do I cut down on my costs? If the profit margins are widening, how do I expand my business? So all these things now start to come in. So you're now looking at structure.
So it's now you are moving on a different mindset that is from what others have taken to be the norm.
Exactly. So you've decided to move away. You go through the process now looking at, okay, how do I transition this way? You map up all your things. Then you ask yourself, how do I structure myself for this? My organization currently, that I work with currently, have implemented what we call become transnational concept. Previously, we used to have country offices. Every country offices had the same number of staff replicated. We work in Togo, we work in Burkina Faso, we work in Ghana, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, and you are asking yourself that, do we need to duplicate every other position in every other office? What if, and I like the banking industry for now, because now most of the banking institutions have outsourced their customer kind of service relationship to companies far back in India. And the banks are in Africa working. And you call the customer service line, and then there's an Indian talking to you from India.
Also, now this is happening in Ghana as well.
Exactly, it is there.
Wow.
So you ask yourself, do we, like check payroll, do we need to have accountants in every office? Would it be possible if we can just work payroll from London office, and they can just work on the payroll and send into people's accounts? So now that is where the world is going. So you start to ask yourself, how do I catch up? Or I still stay and bring more cost to myself because I need to be employing more people to be doing a work that I could get 2 or 3 people who might not necessarily even be based in that country to do that work, but will be able to support a number of other offices across the globe.
So this is about bringing strategy to what you are doing to
exactly so
to stand out in the marketplace.
Yep.
And it's all aligned to mindset as well, isn't it?
You get this right. The next and the last one will be your systems, your platform. How do you function? And this is where you need to look at what others are doing. whether it is a societal kind of change you want to effect, whether it is an organizational change, whether it is a personal change you want to, you ask yourself and look at what are the trends, where are things moving. Okay, now digitization, is it something good for business? Which of my competitors can I say have digitized and they are ahead of me? How did they do it? What platforms are they using? How can I jump onto those platforms? So you start to ask these questions. What systems do I need to influence? One, do I need to adapt? Because the mind, having a mindset change, it's not just I've decided to change, so I've changed.
No. It takes time.
Exactly.
Yeah, it takes time because when we come from break, we are going to talk about thoughts and all that because you cannot just change overnight. No, it's
because
a pattern.
it's a culture.
Yes,
it's a way built for a long time. So you just don't get up and say I've changed.
Today I wrote something on Facebook that thought creates two paths, right? And the one that you are skewed more to, if you have been accustomed to this particular thought for a long time, it's difficult to really transition to another path. And that is how it is. People are negative in life, not just overnight. Means that they have been negative for so many years, and now it's become a cultural practice. So consciously or unconsciously, whatever you tell them, whether it's an opportunity or a breakthrough, they will say no, it's not going to happen. You know,
it's unfortunate. For example, there was a time where every organization was setting up offices, moving people to come to office and work. Now, most organizations are going virtual, where you sit in your home and you work.
Too many now.
Skype, Zoom, you do everything you do. Just like you are in an office environment.
Yes.
So the question is, would you want to incur cost hiring all these office spaces and be paying while you could easily set people up in their homes?
Yes.
And they can deliver.
Yes.
So even for organizations, these are things they need to now start looking at. Do we change the way we've been doing our operations just to conform to modern day ways of being efficient and effective? So we need to look at all this holistically before you can now think and say, now I am ready, I am going to change my mind and go this way. If you don't have this, you hit a snag, then frustration sets in. Before you realize, you might be in a far worse situation than you were before.
Wow, I always say that if the conversation is good, time runs very quick, and we are getting closer to 8 o'clock. And I've got some few comments here. I've got David Edri who is watching us, Obedaku is also watching, and Bernard O. Entry says, greetings to you all, says, great show, thank you very much, Bernard. And Naya Kamara says, greetings. And Irene Ebi is watching. Kontonchi, my man, how are you doing? I hope you're really doing great. And Olayomi Koki gives a thumbs up. Olayomi says, greetings, Oscar, I salute back, sir. Then Mati Mateta, he says, wow. David K. gives a thumbs up. Richard Mensa. Eliza Kukwa, I hope you are doing well. Then Bernard O. Entry says, Bernard Entry says, thank you, sir. Human brain is the most powerful gift given to mankind. Bernard also adds that very practical and inspirational teaching. Thank you. Bernard also says, an army of sheep led by a lion will always defeat an army of lion led by a sheep. That's really powerful. I'll repeat that again. An army of sheep led by a lion will always defeat an army of lion led by a sheep. It's really powerful. I think I have to put this in my diary. Then Perry Ashilevi is also watching. Yes, Perry, I hope you are doing well. Yes, my man Paul Kofi Mante, the man on fire, personal finance consultant. Man, you need to connect to this guy. He's on fire. Bernard also said this is called conventional theory, focusing on the negative aspect or weakness of a child. Great insight, sir. And Perry said, awesome, Padmo, very insightful and thought-provoking. Mokoko still, I salute. Peter Kwadri Agri, I salute. B. Ibrahim, Mercedes. B. Ibrahim said, wow, Padmo, highly endowed. Thank you very much for your comments. Keep the comments coming in. You can ask Padmo some questions. We are discussing the topic, your mindset, the foundation of your success or failure. And it's been powerful. First half, we'll be going in for a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to continue. Please just share this on your page. Somebody might need this because look, we are in an age where your mindset is everything. People are looking for things outside, but your mindset is what needs to be worked on. When we come back, we're going to talk purely about the mind, the role the mind plays in terms of us succeeding in life. And you can't miss this second half because it's going to be thought-provoking. So please don't change the dial. We are coming back very soon.
The IWFT team presents Footprints on Starr Radio UK with your host Oscar Bimpong every Thursday at 7 p.m. Starr Radio UK, your finest Afro-Caribbean station in London.
Bed of roses, bed of roses, bed of roses. My name is Doreen Carter. I invite you to join me on Starr Radio UK this and every Saturday at 9:30 p.m. in discussing what goes on behind the curtains with my panel of experts. Remember, the time is 9:30 p.m. this and every Saturday. Bed of Roses is brought to you by the kind courtesy of Voices of Esther.
I believe in the sun.
What's the hidden truth or mysteries behind the supernatural? Do angels really exist today? Is healings and miracles real? Can I hear the voice of God? What's their inspirations and challenges in ministry? Can my eyes be open to see beyond the natural? Can I operate in the gifts of the Holy Spirit? Can my dreams contain messages from God? My Journey is your one-stop destination to the supernatural on Starr Radio UK. Join your host, Captain Tete, this and every Saturday from 4 p.m. on My Journey, your one-stop destination to the supernatural.
Listen to Aunties Mary, Lottie and Regina on the Family Enrichment Programme on Starr Radio UK this and every Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m.
Some people are wicked because don't make it your business going about revealing
people's secrets. Don't be a busybody.
And some people. Today's typical family is under pressure from various directions. Divorce is on the increase. More and more of the Afro-Caribbean youth are taking to crime, etc. The Family Enrichment Program brings together a team of qualified experts to discuss and shed light on how we can make our families better and stronger. It is said the family can do without the society, but the society can't. Listen to the Family Enrichment Program this and every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Starr Radio UK, your favorite Afro-Caribbean radio station in London.
Download our app in iTunes and the Google Play Store.
What's the hidden truth or mysteries behind the supernatural? Do angels really exist today? Is healings and miracles real? Can I hear the voice of God? What's their inspirations and challenges in ministry? Can my eyes be open to see beyond the natural? Can I operate in the gifts of the Holy Spirit? Can my dreams contain messages from God? My Journey is your one-stop destination to the supernatural on Starr Radio UK. Join your host, Captain Tete, this and every Saturday from 4 p.m. on My Journey, your one-stop destination to the supernatural.
The IWFT team presents Footprints on Starr Radio UK with your host Oscar Bimpong every Thursday at 7 p.m. Starr Radio UK, your finest Afro-Caribbean station in London.
Welcome to the Footprints Radio Tech Show, and this is your regular host, Oscar Bimpon, always in the driving seat, taking you to your destination of success. I've said this is the first half, it's gone. Now we're going to the second half, and I think the second half is going to be even more engaging and thought-provoking, because we always say we reserve the best for the last, and it's been amazing. I always say I'm always learning every single Thursday. A discussion I have on this platform is like reading a book in 2 hours, because the kind of people we bring to this studio are really endowed with what in their areas of expertise, and this is what we are investing our time, our resources in, and that is what Starr Radio is doing, always bringing in the best for you. We are here on the angle of education. That is where Starr Radio stands for. It is the best Afro-Caribbean station here in London, and trust me, we are running like a lion, like an eagle. We are doing the best anybody can think of, and we are really breaking into the market. If whatever you need to do when it comes to media, contact us, because we'll be there to help. Also, this program is sponsored by Train to Inspire Consultancy. Train to Inspire Consultancy is inspiring our generation through training and development. We also provide consulting services for small and medium enterprises in the UK and in Africa. Contact us on 07703508552, 07703508552, or even about your personal development. If you want us to shape your direction in terms of your personal development, we are always there to help. Now, back to business. Who do I have on this powerful hot seat? I've got a man that I've known over 2 decades. I have seen him from grass to grace, working so hard. He is a typical example of a man that can speak on mindset, because he is where he is not just because he was lucky, but because he had a different mindset, working towards it, and he is where he is now. And trust me, this man is a book. He can really write about his story to really inspire us, because it wasn't rosy. He changed the road that was a feeder road to an asphalt. But when people see your success story, they think that you were born on an asphalt, but they didn't know that you started on a feeder road, because all they are seeing is that everything around you looks very nice. But that is not this man. He's always working to even make the asphalt better. And who is this man I'm really talking about? He is the African Regional Program Advisor, Compassion International, and he is in the person of Bafo a Japan partner. Please welcome back to the Footprints, and you are still live on Starr Radio UK.
Thank you.
So I think we've had a very good first half, isn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
If you say so.
Exactly. Yeah, for me, it's a very good first half. Yes. And what are we talking about? We are talking about mindset, the foundation of your success or failure in life. Why do we say it's the foundation of your success or failure in life? Because some people think if they make 10 million, if they can make maybe 10 million Ghana cedis or 1 million Ghana cedis or 1 million pounds, they can make it, even if they don't have the mindset. But why do we say your mindset is your success or failure?
I think I can sum it in this very example. I don't have the statistics yet, but maybe from here we can try and see if we can gain some information from Google or whatever. How many businesses that were handed down to generations, and those people were either able to run the business so effectively or collapse the business? I have my children. If I set up my own business now and I hand it over to my children without them knowing how I struggled to get to where I built the business, I am telling you, you will hand it over, because they don't have the same mindset as you have. They will run your business down. And I mean, basic stats would told to the fact that a lot of children run down their family businesses,
especially in, I wouldn't say Africa because I don't have the statistics as you said, but in Ghana, even if I don't have the statistics, I can pinpoint about hundreds of businesses. Yes, yeah. That it was handed down to parents, handed down to their children, and it collapsed.
And it's
So you call that
understandable.
as a mindset issue? Yeah?
Yes, because those people who are now taking over do not even know how the sustenance of the business got to the point that the inheritance was handed over to them. So they come in with the fact that somebody has struggled and left them a fortune. So they can now mess up with whatever fortune they have. But let me give you 3 key people who, if we want to really look through their minds, we'll see that they caused huge changes in their time. Take Martin Luther King. When the civil rights movement started, I mean, what did he do? Did he go taking arms? No. But the man just sat down and thought that if we are going to fight these guys with the way we are trying to do violence, it's not going to help us. So what do we need to do? Let us now fight them the civil way by using words, by using our behavior, by using our attitude, a change in us. Did he win or not? At the end, we all saw what happened. Take Nelson Mandela. Mandela looked at the killings, the frustration of his people in South Africa under apartheid. Then he said, no, we can't fight these people the way we want to. They will continue to kill us. They will shoot us.
Because they've got
guys, let us change.
They've got resources that we don't have.
Our mind says that we are physically strong, we can fight them, but we can't. So we need to use our words. We need to use non-violent means.
Engage them.
Did Mandela win? And obviously, we all know where Mandela learned that from. From Gandhi. Let me give you a story that I heard that once Gandhi did. They said a mother took the son to Gandhi and said, the child takes too much sweet. So Gandhi should rebuke the child and advise the child to stop taking candy. So Gandhi looked at this child, looked at the mother and told the mother, go and come 2 weeks time. So the mother came 2 weeks time. Then Gandhi took time to advise the child to stop taking sweets. It's not good for him anymore. So they asked him, why did he not say this thing to the mom 2 weeks ago? You know what he said? Gandhi said, could not and I did not have any moral justification to say that to the child because I myself have not stopped taking sweets. So he, the one you want to advise the child, says, I am still into it. How do I advise this child to stop? I will first need to go change my mindset and stop before I can talk to this child. Look at these 3 people. They fought within their time whatever forces they were dealing with, not with violence, but with just a change in their mindset, using words, using non-violent means. So it all starts from there. What is up here? What you are thinking?
So this brings us to what the role thoughts play in terms of directing us to a particular mindset.
The human brain is supposed to be thinking, isn't it? At any point in time, there are so many trade-offs in your mind.
Yes.
If there is any point you want to see opportunity cost work, it's within the brain. Because at one point the brain is telling you to sleep, at one point it says steady. And you are looking at the opportunity cost in your head. I mean, the economics people learn all these physical things from the brain. So you are looking at what do I do and what will give me minimum benefit and maximum benefit at a minimum cost. Obviously, the ideas that comes up, the thoughts, the thinking. If you are a student of motivational books and a student of success, and you're following the Brian Tracy, the Maxwell and all those, they will tell you that the thought process for becoming wealthy or rich, the thought process is about 80 to 90%. The do process, which is the action process, is just like a 10%.
Yes, 10 to 20%.
And it again goes back to the way Napoleon used to win his battle. That's why he did not win his battles on the field.
He won it in the mind.
All the fights were won in his tent. They will do all the strategies, everything from there. The mind, we do strategize, then we go. So everything starts with the thought process. If you are not able to think right, and if you are not able to streamline what you are thinking about, because it is an obvious truth that you always become what you think of.
You always become
what you think of. If I am always thinking of becoming a preacher man, I will start reading books about preacher men and all, and I'm obviously likely to become a preacher man.
Yes.
If I am thinking of becoming rich, I will be going after the books that will inform me on how those successful people made it. So if you get that right, all the others would follow. Sometimes, and it pains in our side of the world, people think that hard work means stressing your physical body, not sleeping, chasing after work from one job to the other, doing what, and that is what we are made to believe is hard work. But growing up, I realized that hard work is actually within the mind.
Yes.
The physical part is just the easiest.
Yes.
If you think it right, you do it straight away, then
Yes.
you're gone. You don't waste energy, you don't spend much time on that. So I agree perfectly that our thoughts, our ideas, what we are thinking through is what starts these changes in our mind. If you get it wrong, we miss it. If you get it right, we move.
That's really powerful, because some people think, you see, the thoughts in the mind's mind. I always say that, you see, I finished writing a book, Mindset Revolution, re-engineering the mind from prison to purpose. And one of the things I talked about is that I compared the mind to political parties in the world. And when you look at political parties, you can have about 5 to 6 political parties. But in the mind, there are 2 political parties. That is your positive thoughts and your negative thoughts.
Also, let me make this statement, and I know a lot of people might doubt what I'm saying because it has no economic theory against it. But poverty is a state of the mind.
Of course.
You see, the mind is saying, look at all that is around you. They are all useless, so you are poor, and you accept you are poor. Go to one of the most dirtiest places where we say the city is choked with refuse, and everywhere you pass there's refuse, it's smelly and all those, especially Accra, where I live.
Yes.
We always say Accra is getting dirty, it's becoming dirty and all those. But are you aware that some countries are actually importing waste?
Oh yes.
And you are generating so much waste.
Yes.
And you have no use for it, rather breeding diseases for you. I mean, you look at yourself and you say, I don't have anything around me. But there are so many resources around you. So it is that thing that is telling you you are poor. But
Yes.
you are not.
No.
You are not. I mean, you need to engage the mind on all of this.
As you said, it's the state of the mind. I think Bill Gates made a quote about you can be born poor. That is all right. Like, I'm paraphrasing. You can be born poor. That is all right, because it wasn't your choice. But if you die poor, then that is your choice.
It's your choice. I mean, you have to think beyond what you just seen. I mean, in business they always say think outside the box. Somebody saying who even invented that box, because you don't even have to be in a box for you to start thinking in a box.
But even, and I also add up to that, even why do you think outside the box? Get rid of the box.
Get rid of the box. I mean, whoever put us in that box that they are always telling us think outside the box, I am asking, why don't you get me out of the box?
Yes.
And rather for you to come and say think outside the box, don't put any box on me.
Yes.
So that freely I can think and bring innovative ideas how we can improve. But one of the key things that we sometimes miss is that we narrow our thinking such that we don't have what we call an integrated approach of issues. We see it one way and we are just only thinking that way. We are not looking at what other routes can I go to get to where I want to go. If it is a straight course, it is only the straight course we are looking at. We are not seeing the one that goes perpendicular to that same position. We are not looking at the one that you can fly to that same position. All we are looking at is that straight road ahead of me.
You see, there is one thing that I always do, and every time my wife is like, why? Because I like using different routes. You see, there are some people when they get used to one route, for example, from home to work, they will use that road till they die.
And that's the only road they know.
That's the only road they know. So sometimes when I'm driving, you know, even now with this TomTom and with this navigation, you can even choose different routes. I like using different routes all the time. Why? Because I want to experience different roads. And sometimes the navigation can take you on a road that you say this one is the most easiest. But you have spent 10 years being on that road that is always traffic jam.
Because
we don't want to experience new things.
That is where everyone is passing. So I need to join. I need to join that major road because everybody goes through that road.
Yeah.
Name one person. Let me restrict this and limit this to my kind. I'm sure it will be likely to be the same for other African countries. If you go to Ghana now and you are talking about, say, the first 100 successful richest men in Ghana, I am sure about 95% of them will be people who came out of poverty to make it.
Exactly.
These are not people who were just born with silver spoon in their mouth and they enjoyed. People who sat down, looked at opportunities and say, yes, we need to solve this.
Yes.
And then it became their breakthrough.
Yes.
And that is how we need to start thinking. I mean, there are so many problems in Africa and we are complaining.
And where there are problems, that is where there is an opportunity for you to solve them.
And this is what we are not taught in our schools. That we are training you to go and solve the problem
Critical thinking.
And make it in life. But rather we are training you to come and whine and shout and complain about the problem. But if we are actually looking at, and I like the way, Oscar, if you are a follower of these TED conferences, TED innovation discussions that they normally have, sometimes you listen to the young guys from Africa who speak on such platforms and you ask yourself, so how come we are still where we are?
Yes. They have got good, great ideas.
Sharp minds.
Yes.
Take technology, for instance.
Yes.
But instead of leadership actually investing so that we can actually train the mind that we can do these things, your leader is telling you it's impossible, you can do it. So he's not creating the opportunity for you.
Let me give you this typical example. Somebody introduced a guy to him. And this guy, what he has done is, he said he was in the shop sometime and he saw a visually impaired woman shopping. But somebody was helping the woman. But what the person was doing is that when he picked the clothes, he just put it in the basket. He doesn't describe it to the person. He doesn't tell. No. So he stood there for like the whole time watching the whole thing. This is what this guy did. This guy took a course at the university doing IT. Now this guy has developed a product, right? The product helps visually impaired people to shop. And amazing. This morning, he sent me the tax and the the app that they use to operate. My brother, is amazing. Amazing thing. Why? He saw a problem. He went through a process of 4 years for his degree to learn how IT works. And now he has developed a program. And this is a very young man. I'm trying to bring him on the show. This is where somebody sees a problem and he has found solution to it.
And that is where we need to get ourselves into. If we want to sit and assume somebody somewhere, Uncle Sam somewhere will come and then help us, or Santa is on his way bringing these goodies to us. Being in development work for all this while, that is what I'm realizing, that a lot of NGOs are now going back to their boardrooms and saying, we've actually messed up. We have messed up and we are part of the blame that people are not actually getting out of their situation. Because a lot of the NGOs do what we call the handout. They will just come and say, oh, you are poor, you don't need money, you are not eating, take this money, go and eat.
Yes.
Oh, you are not able to pay your school fees, I'll pay your school fees, go to school.
Yes.
And that is worsening people's situation. Now, I'm taking it to the business side. The businesses having this kind of mindset change. Some NGOs leaders have now taken upon themselves. And there was a book that was, I think, somewhere last week or 2 weeks ago. Some of my friends in the US were talking about it on LinkedIn. And I think it was written by the leader of Hope International. And all that book is now saying is, I've not read it fully, but looking at the posts that have come up, if I am Compassion International and I'm dealing with releasing children from poverty, and you are trained to inspire NGO, and your work is to build the capacity of parents to be actually resourceful and see opportunities, why don't I partner with you? And we see, say, World Vision, and within their area of operation, and that where we are also working, they are into boreholes, and there are no potable drinking water. Why don't the three of us come together
and work together
and work as one?
But this is the challenge we face. We cannot work together.
That's why I'm saying NGOs are now going back and they're saying we are messed up. And recently in Ghana, when I used to be the country director, what we did was we had what we call the INGO Forum, where all the international NGOs in the country, the leaders meet. We tried to map out, okay, which regions are you working, which districts, what are your core business in those areas, because some of the NGOs, they don't do the same things across all the areas that they work. So we tried to design something. I mean, Oscar, if you ask me now where that thing is, I'm not even sure. The forum is still looking at that and implementing it, because I don't see them talk about it again. And that was a perfect opportunity. So if I am coming to this community and you are doing literacy, and I am saying I am releasing children from cognitive education, poverty, then I team with you.
That's it. It becomes easier.
So you are providing the teaching and providing resources that we can marshal. But unfortunately, the business system has not even looked at it that way. NGOs rather see themselves as competitors, like the profit-making organizations. They are not. They are supposed to be agents of development. They are supposed to support mainstream government development work.
But this all boils down to mindset, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. Within the organizational setup, the mindset is not there. Being too individualistic. I can do it for people to know that this is about my organization. We want to outsmart or be the shining star for all to see that, yes, we are the pacemakers in this sector. So we are not willing to even bring others on board. So when we talk about it, it's not just the individual thinking right, making a change in his or her society or influencing a sphere of life, but also corporate-wise, there's a lot that we need to look at and change.
Now, I think we are about to wrap up, but when you talk about, we have talked about the poor mindset, and I want you to tap on why do you think, what is the mindset of the rich that makes them successful? Because I think they are doing something different from the people who are poor. And as he said, there are examples of too many people that were poor, but they are now rich. Meaning that they had a different mindset from those people that are still poor. What kind of mindset that they have differently that has really caused them to really be different?
So, I will put it all on the quest to succeed. If you don't have that desire to succeed, you will sit where you are. And we easily tag the rich as greedy people, because they are always taking advantage of the opportunities in the system. They are not greedy.
No. Because you are not taking advantage.
That is the difference.
Yes.
The fact that I've been able to break through one way or the other does not mean I should go back and sit down. And I see another opportunity, nobody is tapping into it, and you say I should not. I go and then I move in that area, I seize that opportunity, and you come and you say, I'm a greedy person, I am taking everything. No, it's the success rate that comes with it. They want to succeed. Imagine you come out from a situation where people used to laugh at you, like you being that drunkard in the community. When your name is mentioned, every child, that is the picture that comes. And you sat through and realized that even the palm tree that you are drinking from it and boozing and people are laughing at you.
You can still sell it.
It has nuts, it has husks, it has fiber that can all be tapped into and used. And your eye just open and say, oh, so I have just been taking just this palm wine and forgetting about all these other things that. So now you take advantage of this and your life changes. Oscar, the most dreadful thing you will ever wish that will happen to you for you to go back to your past situation.
Oh yes.
So then you aspire
to be better,
to improve. But in some of our settings, when people are making it, we are rather praying for their downfall. And people feel like the fact that you've been able to be successful is your obligation to dash out money to others, even if they've not worked for you, they've not done anything.
No.
See, that is where sometimes people seem not to get it right in their mind. Because if I don't have anything to eat, Brakofi will pass by and Brakofi will see that I am hungry, he will give me something to eat. If Brakofi passed by and Brakofi ignored you, if Sister Ya comes and Sister Ya ignores you, the next time you will not sit on your ass, you will get up and go and find something to do.
Today I was having a discussion with a good friend, and it was an amazing discussion. I think we talked over 1 hour, and he gave an example that he used to work at a place, and the owner of the business, the guy is a billionaire. So this guy said one day he wanted to have coffee, and he needed 20p to add to his money, but he told the guy that he's going to give him the money the next day. So when he came back the next day, he gave this millionaire 20p. And the guy took it. Sure. And so he said he kept him thinking for years.
Why he would take a coin.
Why he would take a coin. And as we were discussing, we came to a conclusion that, look, you had an agreement with the guy. And the agreement was you were going to bring the money the next day. When it comes to me and you, we would have said, oh, that is okay. But this is where principles and mindset come in.
See, for you to be that successful, you need what we call, Brian Tracy puts it in a very nice way, you need to be impeccably honest. The one who took the money did a good job by saying, I took this, and not assuming that, or assume that the guy would easily forget about that coin. But he came and said, hey, I took this from you, here it is. I'm telling you, at any point in time, if this guy needs any support from this rich person, he will go for what he demonstrated. The guy will say, this person I can trust, because even he was honest with little.
Yes.
Honesty, credibility, being truthful. I mean, sometimes you look at somebody you don't have. Somebody wants to help build you up, and you are not even being credible. You are lying, you are cutting corners. I mean, you put people off.
Yes.
And the quest for quick money, I mean, let me take this shortcut. This guy went through 13 years. I don't have to go through. I'm not saying you to go through 13 years, because he made the process simple for you. So by now he can guide you where you need to.
So yours is going to be short, of course.
Yours is going to be short. But don't try to outsmart the person who is genuinely trying to show you the way. And that has been some of our people. They now even want to get it to a point that they will now be seen at even higher than you are. And some of these things even put people off. So they would rather not even concentrate on helping those people who are in such situations. They will deal with the genuine ones. Who is difficult to find in terms of numbers. I mean, if you are talking about honesty in a very poor situation, it's difficult.
It's very difficult.
And these are the people you expect to demonstrate those principles.
Exactly.
But those are the ones, let them feel like today I have what can take me for the next 6 months. You really know their character and their nature.
Now, do people around you, what role do they play in terms of shaping your mind, your mindset?
One of the things I learned when I started work growing up, and I took that from one of the management lessons from Brian Tracy, he says that the next 5 years, who you become will be based on the 5 friends you have now. When I came across that statement, in fact, I actually advised myself the kind of people I move with. That on the other side, I am also somebody who more or less sometimes tend to lean towards the vulnerable. Because I would always want to be with them, so I don't see them being cheated. I don't see them being maltreated or somebody just do not show them any sign of a dignified living. I would always want to be there. If you ask, my wife would testify, she sometimes says that, well, you choose almost all the people you deal with are those that you want to support. But sometimes I think you should also start to look at those that when you are in trouble, they can also support you.
Yes.
Not just that way. But I can tell you that now I have built a circle of friends around me. And I'm telling you, these are great guys. They are not guys you say they have. No. But I'm talking about guys that are loyal, that are committed, that are credible. That when you can call at any point in time and they are there for you. And for me, these are the people that I move with now. Honesty, credibility, willing to be there for you. Not people who just want to take advantage of your position because they know that sometimes when they need something from you, they can get it. No. These are genuine people, and these are the kind of people that I associate with.
Wow. That's really interesting. And you've written a book, isn't it?
Yes, I did write a book in 2016.
Yes. So what's the title, and where can people get some to buy?
The title of the book is The Poor in Our Midst.
The Poor in Our Midst.
Yes. We sometimes tend to forget that there are some less fortunate people within our midst that we need to take care of. I mean, sometimes we are quick to say, yeah, we struggle to make it where we are. So why should we bother about somebody who is suffering? Society is a societal call. I mean, it dates back to ancient times. Even here, the Western world, I know that a lot of successful people, if you read their books, they will tell you that whatever that you earn, at least make sure you give 10% to charity. Who does it go to? To help those who are less fortunate. So it is our call. I'm not saying take all your earnings and go and give to somebody because he is poor. I mean, some people are not poor, but they decide to be poor so they can enjoy some benefits. It's not like that. But we are talking about genuine, those that situations have made it possible that they cannot get to where they want to be, that need those support. And I took it from the point also that this had to be a biblical call, a biblical mandate, not just a societal thing. But even if you take religion wise, if you go into Islam religion, the giving of alms, the supporting of the needy is very well stated there. If you come to the Bible also, it is also stated very clearly that we need to support the poor, those that are less fortunate. So that is the concept of that book. It is not more of an economic book where you are looking into statistics, data about poverty within certain geographic areas and all those. I am yet to go into that angle. But this one was more on a moral, biblical call that we first need to get into the mind that we need to support. If the mind is clear, we are willing to support, then we move on with the other ways of how we do that.
Where can people get some to buy?
As I was coming, it was almost ready about getting into Amazon. We've not done it yet, but the more like the Kindle type, everything has been set for it to roll on there. So I mean, in Ghana, obviously you can get physical copies to buy, but globally we
so where in Ghana can they get the physical copies? Because we've got a lot of people that really listen to our program from Ghana and the world.
Yeah, if you get into the offices of Compassion International, you get copies there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then if you also email me or you text me, whatever, there are people who could easily deliver to you if you need copies.
Yeah, and on Facebook it's Bafo.
The name is Bafo Japan on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Same on
so
LinkedIn.
You can inbox him if you really need a copy. as well. Your last word.
Well, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and I hope that all this are a journey that we are all going through, and I believe that listeners have also been enlightened one way or the other to see that whatever situation we are in is not permanent. If only we have the right mindset, we can always get out of it and make the positive changes that we want to see in the lives of our own and also on others that we come into contact with. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm very grateful.
Thank you very much as well. Coming all the way from Ghana to grace the Footprints Radio Talk Show today, Thursday, 2nd of August 2018. I think we've really had a very good discussion. And anytime that you are in town, let us know so that another topic can be discussed. Because all we are doing is that people that really make impact, we always want to partner you for life in terms of the Footprints Radio Talk Show. Yes, the next show is Property Hour, and it is coming on 9 o'clock. Don't miss it. If you really want to make it in this life, one of the areas that you can really invest your time, your energy, and your money in is in properties. And also the Footprints Radio Talk Show, if you want to advertise on the show, if you really want to really support this show, please inbox me, Oscar Bimpon, to support us, because we are working so hard with the scarce resources we have to always bring this show to you every Thursday. So if you really want to invest in this show, please help us, come and join us and invest in us, and we will really appreciate. And also, this program is sponsored by Train to Inspire Consultancy. Train to Inspire Consultancy is inspiring our generation through training and development. And what we do is that we support small businesses, we help individuals in terms of their personal development, coaching, mindset coaching. And look, if you really need consulting for your business, if your business is struggling, we can come and restructure it for you. That is Train to Inspire Consultancy. That is being led by Oscar Bimpon, your host. So please don't change the dial. Next Thursday, the Footprints is still around. We are going to have a powerful man to be on the show as well. And we're going to discuss another pertinent topic. So stay tuned and don't change the dial. Next Thursday, 7 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. Ghana time, we will be here to discuss another issue that's going to help shape your mind in pursuit of your vision in life. Stay blessed and don't change the dial.
The IWFT team presents Footprints on Starr Radio UK with your host, Oscar Bimpon, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Starr Radio UK, your finest Afro-Caribbean station in London. The IWFT team presents Footprints on Starr Radio UK with your host, Oscar Bimpon, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Starr Radio UK, your finest Afro-Caribbean station in London.